Welcome back. It is no secret that Ja Morant is box office viewing in Memphis and around the NBA, but he's taken his appeal international. The Grizzlies guard just wrapped up his Make Them Watch tour, with the final stop being in the Philippines. Morant has been taking the culture by storm, hooping and inspiring the next generation of hoopers with this tour. The Make 'em Watch tour has made stops in Augusta, Georgia at EYBL Peach Jam, New York City, China, Japan, and then finally the Philippines. Back with Jessica Benson of Grind City Media. Jessica, as you've been keeping up with this tour, it is my understanding that you've become something of a cultural icon yourself on this tour, especially in the Philippines. Can you kind of give me some background on what that's all about?
Okay, first you're calling me an ambassador. Now you're calling me a cultural icon. I really appreciate you making my credentials far
I'm
outweigh
just here to
what
gas
I'm
you
going to
up,
hire
Jessica.
you to be my PR rep. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I've been
No,
thinking about other
so
jobs outside of this one, so. Yeah.
there are a ton of basketball fans in the Philippines, which I mean, there's basketball fans everywhere. It's a global sport. But I was unaware of just how passionate the Filipino NBA fan base was until probably around this time last year, when kind of Yuki Kawamura mania like, started to imprint itself, when he ultimately would go on to get the two-way opportunity with the
Right.
Grizzlies. And we had a ton of new Japanese fans watching our content on Grind City Media and being attached to the Grizzlies. And suddenly on TikTok around that time, there was a handful of accounts who would regularly tag me in these videos of a basketball player named Kai Soto. And he's from the Philippines, and they were just steadfast that they wanted Kai Soto to be the next two-way player for the Memphis Grizzlies, or at bare minimum get a 10-day contract opportunity with the Grizzlies. And so I would like, it became a running bit that every day I would check my TikTok and I would have between like 10 and 20 mentions of Kai Soto and my name. And unfortunately, at some point, Kai Soto tears his ACL. And so then there was a change of Filipino future player that they wanted the Grizzlies to look at. And one of those players is Ren Zabando. And funny enough, Ren Zabando played in front of Ja Morant in the Philippines this week and threw down some dunks, and it started going viral because Ja's reaction was, he was impressed. They were good dunks.
Right.
And so it was like this full circle moment of this guy who I've been tagged in many, many TikToks about, suddenly is actually in the presence of Ja Morant, putting on a show in front of Ja Morant, and Ja Morant's responding to him, dabbing him up and all that. And it was just such a funny. I was like, I would have never known who this guy was. Ren Zabando, he's plays in the Korean Basketball League. He was part of. There's a NCAA tournament in the Philippines. Like, they have their version of NCAA, but they call it NCAA Philippines, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But it's NCAA something, and they have a March Madness, and they have a tournament. And so he had played for a team that won the championship. He was the MVP. He left school a year early. He signed with the Korean Basketball League. Then that team won whatever like championship that they were up for. And so he's a good player, but he's never had a chance ever to have any time, be it summer league or G League opportunities. But I think we got to start the movement. Ren Zabando, give him a shot. I am not the Grizzlies GM. Sometimes I think there's this misconception that I have any
That you
power
have any say at
whatsoever
all.
of making these kind of decisions. But I appreciate their passion, and it is very fun to be reminded of just various pockets within the world that have real, true, like intense NBA fandom, basketball fandom. And I think we've definitely seen that, kind of to bring it all full circle, in the totality of this Ja Morant tour through China and the Philippines.
I think what's been cool for me to watch is, as you see Ja interact with these fans, you watch these events that he's been putting together, it reminds me a lot of two things. Kobe Bryant when he goes, when he went overseas, and also James Harden, but to a lesser extent, obviously, they used to like worship Kobe Bryant when he would go overseas. And as I'm watching Ja Morant interact with these fans and seeing him kind of engage in the culture and really be like very grassroots version of himself, it reminds me a lot of the cultural impact that we've seen NBA players and NBA stars in particular have overseas. And I think it's been kind of fun to watch Ja, because you can tell that these are very relaxed environments for him, not necessarily something where he's going to have to sit here and answer a bunch of questions about what's going on with the team or anything like that. He can just go enjoy himself, play basketball, and interact with fans who never get a chance to see Ja Morant, live otherwise. And I think it's been really cool to watch him Just watch the different videos that kind of come out, and he's obviously taking his Catch 12 Media production company out over there as well, and that's some of the video that we've been showing while we've been talking here. Jessica, what have you thought about just the cultural impact that you've seen Morant have while he's been over there?
He's a global superstar. And you cannot say that about, I'll place it at 90%. I'm bad with math, but whatever percent you want to put on it, it's pretty high. You can't say that about the majority of professional athletes in the United States of America. There just isn't that same reach when it comes to across the globe. And I always go back to a couple years ago, on my honeymoon, traveled to Europe and I was keeping track of the NBA jerseys that I saw in various, street fairs and small stores that would sell NBA merchandise. And it was always LeBron, Giannis, Steph Curry, Kobe, and Ja Morant. And this was 3 years ago at this point. And so that was really the beginning of him having, his foot in the door of having true international influence. And you just look at the way he plays. Like he's such a fun player. The highlights are crazy. What do people go crazy for these days? It's Ja. Like it's something that looks fun and bouncy and oh my God, how did he do it? And there's a magician element to it and kids want to be like him and he has the cultural impact with the shoes and he does the grenade celebration now and everybody's doing it around the world. And so it kind of all culminates with this first international tour with Nike where obviously Nike saw the value in him and set him up to do this. And it all is, conjunction with his Jaw 3 launching officially on August 5th. But you can have all of that and still not have the kind of like organic turnout that it appears has occurred both in China and Manila and just hordes of fans so excited to be in the presence of Ja Morant. And there are very few people who get that kind of reaction. And I think it is so unbelievably cool that one of them happens to play for the Memphis Grizzlies, because that also carries over into a representation for the city and a greater knowledge of the city. And maybe there's somebody out there, a kid in China who had the chance to see Ja this week, and he's like, dang, like I want to go see Ja play in Memphis. And then that creates, a tourism opportunity and creates a new fan in the Grizzlies for the rest of his life. So all of that stuff matters. But I also will go back to one of the things you said. Ja just looks so happy. Like I never try to place emotions on someone because it always feels like a silly game we play when we're trying to identify how someone feels, because you just never know. But God, he looks so carefree. He looks so happy. And I really hope that he's been reminded just how much he means to so many people. And the majority of basketball fans and at least Ja fans, like truly love this guy and are so excited to root for him and genuinely want nothing but success for him.
So from what I've seen, your colleague, Devin Walker, he's already got himself a pair of Ja 3s gifted to him. Are we going to see some Ja 3s on the Jessica Benson show soon, or what's up with that?
I have the ones and I got a kids pair. Someone put me on because I'm an 8.5 women's, and so I was able to squeeze into a kids pair and get them for a little cheaper, which was a pro tip that I learned. I'm actually trying to get rid of shoes at the moment, Avery. My husband has put a mission by the end of this summer that I'm supposed to get rid of between 7 and 10 pairs of shoes. So if I want to get the Jaw 3s. Yeah, he really put his foot down. And when he put his foot down, there were 10 pairs of shoes littered across our floor that don't have a place because I have too many pairs of shoes.
Sure.
But I do love the Jaw 3. Like, I love the color schemes for everything and the different colorways. Like, I just think the use of fun, bright, vibrant colors is like so cool. And I'm a sucker for a plain white sneaker, but the Jaws I have are like the pink and baby blue kind of. And if I were to get a pair, I would want some of the bright like pink and oranges.